So welcome to the RROK, shortening the title down a bit, the hot seat. I'm Dave Holland, and with me today are two of my favorite people in the world, in Luxembourg and in France as well. Stephane and Sandrine from LuxRelo. Guys, hi there, good to see you.
Hi, nice
Hello.
evening.
Welcome. Great to have you on the call. And I think we said we're not been here talking just about LuxRelo. I think we know that how fabulous LuxRelo is. And what I would say, anybody who's considering moving to Luxembourg or moving people to Luxembourg, these are the guys you should definitely speak with. But before we kick off, proper, it's really just a happy anniversary for, was it Monday was your 30th anniversary?
Yeah, yesterday was our 30th wedding anniversary.
30th wedding. Congratulations. Sandrine, you must have got married very, very young. I don't believe you're older than 30 for a start anyway. So anyway, congratulations. So just for everybody listening, I'd like to talk about you guys as a pair running the business and everything like that. How did you guys meet? Just out of interest, how did you guys actually meet? How did you get together?
We actually met at a business school in London.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Both of us were studying there in the same school, same year.
So
we met in year one.
Yeah.
And we did the 5 years together.
At that time, I was living with my parents, and Sandrine was living on the campus, and I was spending a lot of time on the campus.
Strange that, yeah, strange, yeah. She sort of disappeared for long periods of time. So overall, then, just how long have you been a pair? Then you've been married for 30, and congratulations. How long have you been together as a pair?
Together for 35 years.
35 years, yes.
35 years. Good job. Congratulations. Excellent. So you been together 35 years, married for 30. How did you end up working together? Because you guys work as a very strong team, as a pair in Luxembourg, doing what you do. How did that come about? Because that can mean, the reason for the question is that can either work really well or it can be really, really tough. How for married couples to work together. How did you get together as a couple working together?
I mean, as work, I think we were always kind of as a team, because I mean, during our studies, we were always working together. You know, when we had projects to do,
yes,
we always do them together.
She was much clever than me and better in writing and so on. So that's why I was staying with her.
No.
Okay, you chose a bright one. Okay, well, bright and attractive. I mean, what's not to like? You know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and then when we started working, well, Stephane had to do the military service. You know, in France, you have to do that. So I started
to do that,
yeah,
not anymore.
Yeah, at the time. So I started working before Stephane, and then when Stephane found a job, at some point he was transferred to Lyon in south of France. I mean,
okay, yeah.
And there, you know, the person he was replacing was working with his wife. So they asked him, well, does your wife want to work with you? So I said, well, why not, you know?
Wow. So it's almost just a happy opportunity, basically, then, wasn't it, by the sound of it?
Yeah. And, you know, at the time, it was quite difficult to find jobs. And I thought, well, you know, Stephane is transferred. I have to look for a job. So you can't refuse a job, you know, when the market is difficult.
Absolutely.
So I accepted the job.
Yeah.
And then, so we worked a bit together. Then I stopped because we had our first baby.
Yeah.
And then I stopped for many years.
But so was this in the relocations business as well, or is this something different?
In the moving industry. So it was at the time where I was in the moving. So I mean, I've always worked in the mobility industry, moving mainly for many years. And then since I'm in Luxembourg, I've been doing moving and relocation. Sure. And what happened is that Sandrine at one point decided that she wanted to go back to a paid job, because she did a lot of side job, but that were not paid, you know, like working for associations and you know, being very involved, but not earning money. And she decided to go back on the market, and what she was really interested by the relocation, and decided to start as a freelancer. So she worked as a freelancer for companies based in Belgium or Paris or in France in general that would need support in Luxembourg.
Yeah.
And then at one point in my previous company, we were looking to have more supports locally and couldn't find anybody. So I said, okay, can I asked my wife to work for us as a freelancer, and
so here again I worked with him.
Yeah, so
yeah, there's no escape, is there? There's no escape.
yeah, so she didn't work directly with me, but she was working with the lady in charge of my relocation department.
Right. Okay.
It's how it started, and then when I lost my job, and she still worked as a freelancer for a certain number of months.
Yeah.
Until yeah, one day I came back home and say, you know what, I discussed with this guy, and why don't we set? I mean, I cannot find a job, so why don't I,
put our strengths together?
Yeah, why don't we create our own job and set up our company? And Sandrine was very much involved into the operations.
Yeah.
I had the experience as country manager, managing the entity of my previous company in Luxembourg.
Mm-hmm.
So, putting our strengths together was, the best idea at the time. And well,
no regrets.
It's been 7 years, and we are still partners in business and in life. So
you haven't killed each other yet or anything like that. There's no okay,
not every day.
But I think because I see this, I think for Lynn and I have worked together similar to you guys. We've been together for a long time, working together and running businesses. How do you separate the personal relationship from the business relationship, or don't you? Did it just all blend into one? How do you handle that? Or you?
At some point, you are just one person.
Yeah.
Your private life and your professional life, and it makes one person, and it kind of builds your personality as well.
Yeah.
Of course, we talk a lot about business and everything at whatever time, just when it passes our mind. Mm-hmm. But when people ask me, "Oh, is it okay? Don't you always talk about business and everything?" I mean, it's the same in every couple. It's just that the other one does not know what, the details of what the person is talking about. Sure. So I'm thinking it's more annoying because there's nothing, the spouse can do to help, can just listen and carry things on the shoulders and things that you have no impact on.
Yeah.
As we discuss, we find solution. Oh, that's out of our mind. That's it. I find it very efficient.
Yeah, no, I do see a lot of posts. And I guess people listening to this as well. I'm going to have some questions later, but I see a lot of posts and content, certainly on social media, about protecting our mental health, for example, having work-life balance, and having compartmentalizing our lives into different areas. And I think for me, for Lynn, and I think for how we work is probably similar to you, is that it tends to blend into one because we may be talking or traveling. There's no difference.
Yeah, I think it's more, and I read a post about that. Somebody saying it's life balance. It's not work-life balance. It's life balance. And it's mixed. And I think one important, because I think every time we meet somebody new and they understand that we are working as a couple.
Yeah.
Most of the time, maybe 90% of the time, how do you do it? I would never be able to work with my spouse.
Interesting, isn't it? It is interesting, and I think it's good that they recognize that, because I think sometimes the best way to kill a perfect marriage is to work together as well. Sometimes,
maybe, but I think also is that when people set up a business, very often they want the same thing out of the business, and they want to do the same thing in the business, and sometimes they are not using the strengths of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I be the finance manager if I'm not good at it? Or why should I do marketing if I'm not good at it? And it's there's a lot of things that we are doing together as business partners, like in every other business.
I think you feel more relaxed for take decisions.
Yes. Okay, that's a good point.
Because you have really a person that you can trust. you know, we take the decision together, and then everything is lighter.
Yeah.
I would say.
But on the day-to-day, we have separate jobs.
Yeah, how do you do that? Because, you know, the risk of being non-PC, Lynn and I have pink jobs and blue jobs, you know, how do you sort that out?
Well, I think, I don't know if we were lucky, but it's kind of, it was natural, because the fact that I was already in a certain role where I had experience where Sandrine didn't have.
Yeah.
And she
was
the opposite, she was in the operations, you know, helping directly the clients, which I didn't have a clue how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, suddenly it made sense, you know. You have to, you know, use the what you are, I mean, focus on what you are best at.
Yeah.
And slowly we built on that. So Sandrine is managing the operation, she's managing the HR, she's much better than me at that. And I'm focusing on business development and finance, and
yes.
all the rest. It's discussion we have together, that
and with the team
the team. Yeah, what I was going to say, it's the team is very much involved in all the decisions we are taking, because you know, we cannot manage a business by ourselves. When you are growing, you need to have the support of your team to make better decisions.
So if I just want to scroll back a little bit, you mentioned that you're working in the industry, and then you changed your job, your role, your function changed, and you created LuxRelo. Do you think if the job hadn't have been changed around you, would you have made the jump, or would you still be working for somebody else, do you think?
Well, I don't think you would have made the jump.
Interesting.
Because this is really something that I had told you once in a while, and it, you know, I think to be an entrepreneur, it's either it's kind of, you have no choice, like we did, or it's been like that, you know, in your family, you have some models and some people who kind of push you and encourage you, and for Stephane, you know, in his education, people are more corporate.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
And which is great, because that was a great experience that now we, you know, we benefit for the company.
Yeah.
So, and I think because we did it late, it also, maybe we go faster.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe we make less mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The global experience we have as a couple, as persons. I mean, I've worked for big corporations, so I've seen, you know, all the processes that can, some of them, you know, are too heavy, but some of them are great, and which help us to make a difference on the market for with our company. But yeah, I think I don't know if would have. I mean, you always stay in your job for the good reasons.
Yeah.
For the bad ones, I'm always saying that. Good reason: you have a mortgage to pay, you have kids at university, you have you know, to pay back your car, whatever. That are legitimate reasons. So you are in a safe environment, and it's difficult to get out of your comfort zone. That's the most difficult part.
I think it's the reason for the question, I think, because
taking the risk, and to start with, because you need to, I mean, you need money to live every day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know what I would advise, you know, to anybody, because it's really something, at some point you feel it, you just do it, and you shouldn't think too much. Just do it, focus on it.
And I think the difficulty I had also on my side is that I always worked in the same industry. And, you know, Sandrine was saying, but, you know, you can work in any type of industry, because the job and the role you have, you can do it in any type of company. You can, you know, do cans, you can do whatever.
Sure.
But in my mind, I had a blockage. For me, I only knew one job. you know, in one industry, and it was very difficult to get outside of that.
But you liked the industry,
and plus I liked the industry.
Yeah, of course. But I think if we look at people when they start their own business or entrepreneurial journey, whatever we call it, it's interesting how they start, because I'm sure you see people who they connect with you, they meet with you, and they say, I want to do what you guys have done in, you know, in our own sector or something like that. And when you say to those people, okay, well, great, and when you're going to do it, they tend to come up with, as you've said, well, we're going to wait till the mortgage is paid, or the kids have been through school or university, or there's all these sort of things. And what they're really saying, I think, is, well, I'm not ready yet, I don't feel ready, and it's a bit of a risk. But sometimes when we're pushed, you know, we have no choice. And there was an interesting phrase. I mean, I was fired in my career, and I thought the world had ended. I thought that was it. I thought we were out of the game completely. And, you know, went home and said to Lynn, been fired, oh, what do we do? And Lynn said, well, the first thing you're going to do is paint the house. I said, okay. So anyway, but within sort of 2 weeks, the phone rang and off we went. And it was, in hindsight, the best thing that ever happened, whilst at the time it was the scariest thing. Was that your experience as well? It's a scary time if somebody, you know, you get pushed.
It's really scary. And you know, if we look back at what we did, we, you know, deciding to set up a company together, putting all the eggs in the same basket, you know, we had no choice. It had to work, you know. We had our back onto the wall, and we can only move forward. You cannot look back. We have to move forward. We have to, you know, we told ourselves, our kids started, you know, university. We need to continue to pay, to be able to pay, to offer them that. And we'll make everything possible to make sure that it happens. But
I must say, we work like crazy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is when you start out. I mean, how many hours a week, if you ever counted them? But what sort of pressure were you guys?
You can't count them. I mean, I was working. It's only since January that I'm not working in the evening, like, because I was working most of the evening until 11 o'clock.
Really? Wow. Okay, there you go.
And in the weekends as well. Then I kind of stopped one day in the weekend, and then, you know, I thought, okay, just Sunday afternoon. And now we are fine.
Yes, absolutely. So what drives you guys? Do you
in January I said, no, this is enough now, you know, because also you I mean, age is running, and you're thinking, hey,
35 isn't old, Sandrine, you're okay.
Just thinking, hey, also, you know, there's one thing when you're an entrepreneur, I think, is that you need to be in good health. And this is, I would say, probably the most important. Because that's, you know, that's where you get
mentally
your energy.
And physically.
That's where you get your energy. And when you have the energy, you get the ideas, you get, you know. So there is something that you should really keep on the balance.
Sure. So what is it that sort of drives you? I think I know the answer to this. I think it would be for me anyway, but is it when you started out, did you have a goal, a vision, a dream, and a passion and a plan, or was it just come out swinging and make sure you can pay the mortgage? Was it sort of a fear-driven activity, or was it a goal-driven activity?
Not at all.
At the beginning, it was like a solution.
It's really, you know, it came out. I met this guy, had a discussion just before lunch in Luxembourg. And then suddenly there was like you know, something that moved in my head, and I said, well, this is what we have to do. And then at this time, we worked on a vision board, a plan, and by the way, we should review it. But really, we had those A4 sheets that we've put together, you know, and then we had this timeline, you know, from what do we want to do at 50, 55, 60, 65. But
also, you know, when you have a vision, it's kind of reassuring.
Absolutely.
You can see where you're going.
You
can see, you know, and then it helps to be realistic. Is it feasible? Am I like just dreaming? No, you know, you go step by step.
So I mean, so for anybody maybe listening to this and they are thinking of doing something themselves, in whatever sector they're in, but they're in a safe and secure job. Now, for me, I don't think there's any such thing as a safe and secure job. I think it's much safer and more secure to have a number of clients we're dealing with rather than one who's called a boss. That is a terrifying place for me to be. But if they're thinking of doing this, what advice
it really
would you
depends
give?
on the personality of each person.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it takes a lot on yourself to be independent.
Yes.
This is not for everyone.
Well,
we can see around us also that some people are entrepreneur, and because they have that dream, they want to do this and they are really good at it.
Yeah.
Then they don't know how to run a business, and then they have so many worries, and sometimes they just fail because in fact they don't have, maybe they're not surrounded by the right person. They should take another person with them, to make sure that their boat is really strong.
Yeah. I think I wonder one of the things that trips people up when they start out is that they have a good technical skill, for example. Maybe they're an accountant or a lawyer or whatever it is, a good technical skill, but they're not able or prepared for the marketing and the selling to get out there and promote and be visible and be seen. I know you've broken through this a couple of times.
In fact, there are so many aspects that you need to be good at.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to be good at everything.
Sure.
But you cannot just say, okay, that I don't care.
Yeah.
It is not, it's there, it's chasing you.
Yeah.
And you have no choice but to face it and find solution for the team, for the business, finding clients, have visibility, marketing, the finance, be everything legal, and it is so many aspects that sometimes it's like a headache.
Absolutely.
But I think it's the most difficult part for people that want to set up the business is first loneliness if they do it by themselves.
That's a good point.
And people tend to say, okay, I'm going to set up my business from my room or living room.
Yeah.
My advice is as soon as possible, go into a co-working space.
Yes.
Where you will meet other entrepreneurs, you will exchange ideas, you might find clients, you might find partners and suppliers, and that's very important. And I think that's also part of our strengths is that we are together. Sometimes, like everybody else, we are down, we are losing one client,
especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now everything is much stronger. We don't need to stress as much, but still, you cannot just say, okay, that's done now. Just relax.
It never goes away, does it?
One thing, as an entrepreneur, you are never relaxed.
No, exactly. We've got to keep the plate spinning
to feel comfortable with that idea.
Yeah. So in sort of hindsight, in looking back from when you started LuxRelo, any, not regrets, but anything you do different, in any major lessons you sort of say, well, avoid doing this or do more of that perhaps?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. I mean, it's a journey, isn't it? It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. I don't think. I mean, at the beginning, at one point, I regretted not to have jumped and be an entrepreneur before. But
interesting.
There's nothing you can do.
That, of course, I cannot do anything about that.
Sure.
But like Sandrine said before, with the experience we had, we avoided a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And we went faster in making sure that we were well structured.
Yeah.
Plus, also, this came at a time of our life where, in a way, we have more freedom because all the children are out of the house.
Yes.
I mean, people should keep in mind that, running a business, running a family, running leisure, running the weekends, all the activities of well, it's a lot,
Absolutely. Yes,
really
it is.
A lot.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, it came to a time where, the children were grown up, they were out of the house. When we started, we only had one, but one is easy. you know, with one you do everything you want. I mean, it's easy. I mean, usually she wasn't 5 years old anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's really things to consider as a whole, and not just, okay, I want this. You cannot just think for yourself.
And I think as well, you look at you started the business, you went through this, you got some clients, and then you started building team, which is a hurdle for a lot of people where they not able to pass over the work to somebody else. I know you have a genuinely a fabulous team at LuxRelo. You know, I've come to know them and I've met them. Really good, strong team. How did you feel when you were beginning to pass over the work and the trust and the relationships with some of the clients to somebody else?
Very nice.
Yeah, but it's well, it's nice, but it's difficult because it's difficult to find the right people, and
that's the most difficult.
And we've you were talking about regrets. I don't think it's regrets, but it's gaining experience. We've made some mistakes in some of or in a few of the recruitments. And also for me at the beginning it was difficult to delegate. You know, I remember when at one point someone said, yeah, you know, that's enough. You shouldn't be doing some operation for the immigration. You need to have someone to help you with that. And I said, no.
And he kept saying, that's only 5 minutes here. I said, well, 5 minutes and 5 minutes, then you never stop.
And then I realized that it's great, you know, it's free some time to focus on other things, to focus on marketing, on sales, and I have someone that now is better than me at organizing all the operational side of the immigration.
Excellent. I think without team, if you want to scale and grow, team is critical. I see it a lot, but
you can't grow without a team. You cannot grow without, I mean, just by yourself.
I think we had a discussion. It's a few years back. Is that's a personal decision. Whether you are fine with the size of your company, and you know you don't want to grow, and what you have and the revenue you get and the freedom you have is enough, or you want to go to the other stage and, you know, grow and maybe expand, and for that you cannot do it alone. You need a team that, you know, supports you and helps you along the way.
So what is, you know, I think I know, in fact, I think whether you would corroborate this, I think you're the #1 relocations company in Luxembourg, if not by size, but by reputation, value, quality, visibility, I mean, come on, I'm going to give you a big plug here. What's next? What's next for you guys, and what's next for LuxRelo? Where do you see the next 3 to 5 years going?
Well, I think it's I think what is interesting is that when you put your hand and your foot and then your whole body into the entrepreneurial world, you start to like it. Of course, you know, I've met so many people in the past years, really interesting people in the entrepreneurial world, and you have some that, you know, set up their company and that's it. They work in it, and or they sell it after a while. In our case, it's more a question of opportunity. So if we can expand, if we can, you know, expand in another country, do another business, take over somebody, why not? Why not? But it's a question of opportunity. That's not something that we are really focusing on, and that, you know, it kept us awake at night saying we have to do that.
But if the opportunity comes, it's nice.
It's like, you know,
because it's like a new challenge, and it's always, you know, nice to have new projects and putting things you know, together. And
I find that I quite like the building, you know, setting up and launching. It's quite exciting. I mean, we've launched 2 or 3 years ago an au pair business that lasted for nearly 2 years. Didn't work out. Well, you know, we closed it down. We were lucky not to lose any money. it didn't work, but you learn from the experience as well.
Absolutely. I think these opportunities come along almost when we're open to them, but we're not hunting them. They seem to come to us, if you like, and conversations and people that we meet as well. So okay, but so the future is bright for LuxRelo though, and for Stephane and
I think
Sandrine,
it's important to network as well. You know, like when I was saying, if you are a solopreneur and you are spending your time in your room in your flat, that's not good for your mental health, and that's good for the expansion of your business. You know, how what better way to you know, have new ideas or maybe potential new business than to have a coffee with someone, than to go to a networking event, then, you know, chatting with someone. You know, what, somebody connected with me on LinkedIn last week, and we had a call today. Interesting. I don't know where it goes, but we might do business together. Absolutely. You have to be open to those new opportunities.
So to get if somebody's going into, and a lot of people listening, I think, to this will not be opening a manufacturing business, I don't suppose, or anything like that. It's likely to be a professional services type business. To get their first client, if somebody said to you, how do I get my first client as a consultant or whatever sector they're in, what would you suggest they do? What would your sort of top 3 tips be for getting your first client in the professional services space?
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you are, where you are working from, which country, which city. But in Luxembourg, networking is key. Really, it's the way to meet people. The people you meet might not be your clients ever. But they will be your promoters. One important thing when you launch your business is that you need to be aware that you will not be successful right away, and that you will not make money right away.
You
need to have sufficient funds to support yourself, you know, at least for 1 year. I mean, we set up our business in an industry that we knew. We knew the country, we knew the clients, we knew the suppliers. But you are a new player in the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if in our case we are mainly dealing with HR, even if the HR know you, you know, they say, "Oh, I want to work with you. I know you, Stephane. Let's onboard you." And then, of course, you have the procurement that will come and say, "Well, they don't have any track records. You know, let's wait a bit, you know, to make sure that they are stable."
I think I remember, and specifically Luxembourg actually is when we you know, started out working in Lux. The first company we worked with was actually BNY Mellon, and one of the first companies we worked with. And it turns out that they were great, they were fabulous, but they were sort of watching us for a period of about 6 months. And when I met with them and had coffee with them and met them, and they said, "Look, we want to just make sure that you're going to be here, because a lot of people they turn up and they disappear. It's not only a transient place, but a lot of people, entrepreneurs and businesses, pop up and they pop down again. So being there in the medium term is a great sign of, you know, of sort of success, if you like, and people there, they'll be attracted to you for that."
Work. Because it's not like one shot, you know. It's like you have to keep stable all the time, keep giving the same level of service all the time. If you are, I mean, and when you're by yourself, I mean, it's difficult because you get tired like everybody else. You need vacation like everybody else. When you have a team, it helps.
You spread the love.
The most important part when you launch a business, of course, is to have a good product or service.
Absolutely.
But if you can start by having already one customer, that will help you, or an idea of one customer that, you know, will be joining you very soon. That's important. I think, you know, and in our industry, I've known colleagues where basically they decided, whether in the moving or relocation industry, decided to open an entity in another country, just basically because they had one client, there maybe one of their main clients saying, "Oh, we need support in, I don't know, Italy." And it's okay, you know, let's open a branch in Italy.
I think you can get that. That's a good kickstart to it, isn't it, as well? So it gets you launched out the blocks. So, okay, we haven't talked about LuxRelo specifically. I think it was interesting, your story, your take on things. But the people listening to this, if they are, and I'm sure they will be by now, wanting to contact you and they want to work with LuxRelo, how's the best way of getting in touch with you guys?
I mean, two ways, through our website,
www.luxrelo.lu. Excellent. Okay.
And otherwise through LinkedIn. Just, you know, connect with me. I'm happy to connect and spend some time to share my experience and give advice. You know, I had people helping me and helping us along the way since we started 7 years ago.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to give back, you know, my experience, and if people can avoid some of the mistakes, I'm happy to share that.
fabulous. So, guys, well, I just want to thank you for participating. I know we know each other well, but it's always interesting to hear your story and your take on things. It's highly inspiring. Hopefully, it'll inspire people to reach out, say hello, and have a coffee chat, and hopefully work with LuxRelo as well. So, thank you, guys. Pleasure to spend time with you as always. I'm going to pause the recording, and then we can go back sort of off air a little bit and have some live Q&A with chat with other people on the call. So for now, thank you. Stay on the line though, there's no escape, and I'll pause recording and I'll see you in a second or two, but bye for now.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.